What's going on, Lewis? What are you shooting here? What is that?
Shooting a Creamsicle, little ice cream pop.
A little ice cream pop? A little spicy little ice cream pop? All right, let's do it. We're here.
Okay.
We're in Colorado. What's up, guys? Larry Chen here. Welcome to another episode of Hoonigan Autofocus. That's my buddy, Joe Barry. Hi, Joe.
How you doing, sir?
Hi. We're in his shop at Colorado Springs, and this is his Creamsicle, crazy, probably one of the craziest street cars in the world. Street cars. So I guess this is kind of where we explain what Drag Week is. And forgive me, because my audience, I love talking about Drag Week all the time. They love making fun of the fact that I love to bring it up and promote this thing that I've had a chance to experience it, and I've had a chance to live it and be a part of it. But from the outside, you actually compete in it. How many times have you competed in Hot Rod Drag Week?
8 times.
Okay, so for the new viewer, what is it?
Well, it's probably one of the craziest ideas that anyone could ever come up with. We basically take drag car, race car, we call it street cars, and we participate at an event, a drag race event, and then we hop in that car and drive 200-300 miles to the next track, most likely in another state, and do it all over again for a week at a time.
In my eyes, you know, I shoot a lot of endurance racing. I pride myself in having shot pretty much every 24-hour race in the world. Endurance race, Le Mans, 24 Hours of Evergreen, Daytona, all of those. In a way, there's really not a drag racing version just because of the way it's formatted. But this is pretty much, I think, Drag Week is the closest to endurance drag racing.
I would agree. Now that you compared it with those type of events, now I feel less than adequate here.
No.
Because those are serious events. Because obviously watching what you filmed over the years, but it's the same idea. I mean, it basically, at this point, the cars, we've figured out the cars, how to make them live. So really it pushes the driver more than anything at this point. So you really get a week's worth of durability on the car as well as durability on your body for the week.
Okay, because from the outside, for someone who doesn't know so much about drag racing, if you look at it from afar, it could potentially be like a pro mod car, right? But it's not. You're actually building a Hot Rod Drag Week car. Like, there's no reason for a pro mod to be able to drive on the street and take pump gas.
And I'm the first to call it a street car, no doubt. But it is a pro mod with steel panels on it and license plates. I mean, everyone, and I'm sure everyone will cringe when I say that, but all these cars are the same, other than the body panels you put on them. Mine happens to be steel body, but it's a pro mod underneath. The technology, everything we have is just like what you'll find in a pro mod.
But I mean, that's the beauty of it, right? You can make it look the way you want, and there's so much in terms of things that you could do. Like, you're not limited in terms of horsepower. You're not limited in terms of so many things. In unlimited class, it's actually pretty truly unlimited for a race car.
Correct. I mean, anything goes with the cars. There is nothing you are not allowed to do. We compete. I think the only thing they say is you can't change out the engine. But besides that, anything's legal. Whatever power plant you bring, whatever car you bring, it is legal.
So, I've had a chance to feature a couple of these cars. One of my favorites, a buddy of yours, Tom Bailey, I had a chance to feature his car that we just drove on the street. We're just driving it down the street with the wheelie bars and everything. It's the craziest car. It's actually super comfortable. It has air ride, and I just couldn't believe something like that. Plus, it gets pretty decent mileage. What kind of gas mileage does this thing get?
If long as we're just driving it sensible, with the trailer, we'll get 12 miles a gallon right in there. It's not bad.
Because you take this and you drive it on the streets here in Colorado too, without a trailer.
Correct. I mean, we drive it. We do different events here. We go to cruise nights, things like that. So the car sees its fair share of street driving.
All right, so one of the reasons why I really like Formula Drift, I follow a lot of drifting.
Yes, sir.
The cars are relatable, but also it's one of those things where there's no regulation for what kind of engine you use and what kind of power adders. I love the fact that even in unlimited class, like yours is twin turbo, right?
Correct.
And then you're competing against people like Dave Schroeder.
Dave Schroeder with the nitrous car.
Nitrous car, and I don't even know how many liters that is. It's like 16 liters or something
It's
crazy.
900 cubic inch, if I remember the last time, somewhere in that range.
But that's the beauty of it's like essentially different things competing in the same. It's just so weird to see, But I think that's the difference, right? You go to NASCAR and you go to the drag strip. A lot of these top fuel cars, or pretty much all the top fuel cars, and also the funny cars, it's essentially the same thing, right? But these are still different. These are more relatable.
Correct. And that's what I always tell people when people are asking about a car, or they're building a car, and I say, well, what do you think about this? And I always tell people, build it like you want it. Don't build it based on someone's opinion. I said, because if we all had the same opinion, it would be really boring. All these cars would be identical. I said, you have to have the uniqueness of what you like, whatever that might be, because that's what makes these cars different. I mean, it's kind of makes the different for the individual.
It's kind of interesting also to me because it's brought out these people from the woodwork like yourself, and then you have people like Larry Larson. I don't know if he's been around for a while, but like you see all of the other cars that people build. Like you pride yourself on the fact that you have real chrome, like all of this is metal.
Yes, sir.
None of this is carbon fiber, even though you potentially could, and you'd probably go faster.
We would definitely go faster. I mean, it's a 3,800 pound car.
but you love that. You love the fact. I mean, in terms of being aerodynamic too. This is probably one of the worst cars.
Well, it is, and I'm sure Chevrolet never intended you to go 200 miles an hour plus, But it's a real car. I mean, all things considered. I mean, going back to like the Pro Mod thing. One thing about it, it is how Chevrolet designed it in 1956. There's nothing aerodynamic about it whatsoever.
All right, so tell me a little bit. I mean, can you even dyno this thing? Is there even a dyno in the world that can?
They do dyno them. They do them on hub dynos now, and I think the hub dynos can support 5,000 or 6,000 horsepower. We've not dynoed this yet. One of these days we'll get around to it. The gentleman, Joe O, that tunes the car has a dyno, but all the tuning we've done is driving down the street for the streetability and at the track. So I'm sure we could learn from that.
What's your guess though?
Power, the car's 3,800 pounds. The car will go 680, 210 miles an hour. So it's 3,000, 3,200 horsepower on 27 pounds of boost. So that window, if I was with like the other cars, we'd be 40 to 50 pounds of boost. But I don't want to work on it, especially during drag week. So as Tom would say, I'm conservative, but I don't have to fix it. But if we ran it to its potential, I'm sure you could be 3,500 to 4,000 horsepower.
Yeah, but that's part of the strategy, right? So when you go to the 24 Hours of Le Mans, you can't run 10 tenths the whole time. There's no way, you can't. Otherwise, you'll either crash out or have some engine failure or something. And then guess what? You're in the pits for how long? You lose all the time that you made up. The point is, with you guys, you have to make one pass at every track.
And that, when we first started, it wasn't that way. When we first started, we were all trying to outdo the other. So we would make 4 or 5 passes. Well, what we realized that we're just beating on our stuff. And so now we have this idea, it's one and done. So you go out there in that morning and do your best to make that single pass, and hopefully it's in the range where you need to be, and pack up and leave, because you don't want the beat on the car. And it kind of it sucks for the fans, because a lot of the fans come out to watch the faster cars. And if they aren't there first thing in the morning when we're out there trying to make the first pass and just get out of there.
Yeah, so I think that's a thing that we have to explain, right? So now, even to the point where if you made a pass and it's not your best pass, you're not going to go back and redo it. You're not going to try to shave off a little more time.
No, most likely not, unless it's substantially far off. If we're talking within a couple tenths, we're probably going to take it and leave.
Right. Because you have to drive potentially 200, 250, sometimes 300 miles to the next place.
Correct. And, and most of the drives are pretty minor. It's just an easy drive. But when you start having weather, like rain and things like that, with these cars being slicked up, it's quite a ride. So it may take a simple thing like 200 miles could take you 8 hours to drive in the rain.
And on top of that, they never, ever, ever have you take the most direct route. It's like the worst, not the worst routes. I love them so much because it's literally in front of random people's houses through neighborhoods. And I love it. These people will set up their lawn chairs, they'll have their little iced tea, and then you're driving this 3,000 horsepower beast by their house waving, and they're like, oh, this is so cool. It's a free parade.
Yeah, exactly. And, it's got better over the years because now they pass the route out so the public sees it. So a lot of times they will set up. I mean, they'll make you dinner. They'll have beer for you, whatever, They're ready when you come through their area. So they definitely, that part of it is really cool. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. So, and because back to your conservative, doing conservative runs, because that's just your strategy. If you can make 5 passes over 5 days at 5 tracks, and it averages out okay, and the faster guys, potentially Tom or whomever, they break and they can't make that one pass, then that's it. You get it, That's how you potentially could still win unlimited without having an all carbon fiber car.
And I think, we've finished second and third 3 different times overall. So that means all classes. So that's a pretty big deal when we are racing against lighter cars, lighter weight cars. More aerodynamic cars. So it's that I'm real happy for. Because that's something. Even after all these years, we can still take a car 10 years old and be competitive, just because we've done it. I guess that we've learned as we went and learned what is the best way to do the strategy.
All right, so we're gonna go over this car a little bit, but you're also building a car for your wife.
Yes, sir.
And this one's gonna be lighter and faster potentially.
Well, it's definitely lighter. It's good for maybe 500 pounds lighter. It could potentially be faster. We're actually pulling the turbos off of my car to put on her car to make it more competitive in the class we run. So it'll be interesting to see. If she can drive it, it should be faster.
I'm kind of curious about that.
We'll see. We'll see.
I'm curious because I'm so lucky that I get to shoot so much racing all over the world. I always say this, I've been to 50 countries. I've been lucky to cover open wheel, time attack, drifting, hill climb. That's why I'm usually here in Colorado Springs. Drag racing is just so different. You don't break until the race is over. And people think that, it's just a straight line and that's it. I never really understood it until I had a chance to follow this series and actually really get down to the nitty-gritty of seeing how you guys go down the track. It's never straight. There's always some kind of shimmying going on. And just putting down the power, like this thing has so much power, putting it down is such a challenge every single time.
It is, and the biggest thing is because obviously we have different tracks. Everything's different. From way one track preps to the way the next track preps. The other thing is they will do, like when we make passes in the morning, they will have 3 sessions. The first session will be for class cars. Second session will be for like a daily driver type car. And then the third session is all the cars combined. If you don't make the first session for whatever reason, when you're prepping the car for the thing, you end up running in the all run. So that means that track is probably the worst it's going to be for the day. So it makes it much harder to go down that track, and it happens to us. Sometimes we have problems and we're still working on the car in the morning. So you end up with less than ideal track conditions.
Oil down or whatever, who knows? Because it's a variety of cars. It's not just these kind of cars. Sometimes it's just brand new cars that you always see written on the window, like Plan B or Plan C or Plan D. Like they couldn't get Plan A, B, or C together, so they had to go with Plan D, which is some rental car. Some poor sap went to Hertz and got like a,
yes.
a GT350 Hertz or something, and they're running that. All right, let's just talk about the car, because otherwise we could talk shop all day about how awesome Drag Week is. And by now you've probably seen every single one of the photos of mine just scrolling past, So how does something like this work? I think a lot of people don't understand. Do you run two sets of injectors? And
we actually run two sets of injectors, and it is in the tuning. So we run a 100 and a 200 injector. The 100s we use, it's good for drivability, makes the street driving way better. It's all controlled by boost, so it's staged basically. So as the boost increases, the second set of injectors come on, and that's what makes it somewhat mild to drive down the road, because everyone says, oh, there's no way you can drive it. Well, it's really not that bad if you do it the right way. So that's mainly the reason for the two sets of injectors, is for drivability.
And it runs two separate fuel tanks too, then?
No, we actually drain the tank. We still drain the tank in the morning when we get to the track, and we'll drain the pump gas out, put race gas in, make the pass, and then put the pump gas back in for driving.
So that's the difference. A lot of people, or I've seen on other unlimited cars, they'll run two separate gas tanks, potentially maybe just to save some time.
It would save a lot of time. I think our biggest problems we've created in the morning is the fuel change. This car was a class car that we ran for many years with like NMCA and PSCA. So it wasn't built for Drag Week. It wasn't a purpose-built car. We ended up adapting it to Drag Week, which has caused other issues because it was basically just a race car. So we've adapted to what we had to work with. But ideally, that's the best way to do it, is have two tanks.
And also, in terms of really of an unlimited car, this one probably is the most street legal, if that's even possible, because you guys have real glass.
It's real glass, yes, sir.
And I love this sticker so much.
Yes, I need to get some better ratings with that. My last rider, they gave me a poor rating.
You did a wheelie or something. The guy didn't like you.
No, they were not impressed.
Oh my God. Okay, so tell us about the motor.
Okay, it's a big block Chevy. It's 598 cubic inches, Dart aluminum block, Dart cylinder heads, which all us turbo guys, they're all pretty much the same. We still have a fairly large cubic inch. It's 598 cubic inches, which as technology comes around, everyone's found that the smaller cubic inches work. So we're kind of a little bit outdated in that respect, that we don't need that much because you can't use the power. It's just with a turbocharged twin turbo, there's more power than we can ever potentially use. It all becomes management more so than, trying to make more power. We have the power, it's management at that point.
The fit and finish of everything on here, you really got to pride yourself in having everything so shiny and good looking too.
I wish I could take credit. I helped a good friend of mine, Gregor, did all the hot and cold side on the car. I would sit there and hold the pipes for him because I'm not so talented, but I could hold the pipes. So he welded everything up. He'd get frustrated with me because I wanted everything symmetrical. I wanted it to look the same side to side. He'd get upset with me from time to time, but when it was finished, it came out really good. And we've never had it polished till this last year. It had multiple drag weeks on it, and everything was, from the rain and everything else, it looked terrible. It looked like your daily driver. So we were doing a show earlier this year, so we stripped everything off the car and we polished everything. A good friend of mine, Jim at J&S Polishing, polished it all, and it took him about a month. He closed the shop and polished everything.
Wow, really? Just every piece?
No, just all the engine stuff. And if you look underneath, all the exhaust is done. We have the intercooler, which actually sits in the car, but all the tubing that goes under the car is all polished, all the exhaust. I mean,
oh, so where is the intercooler?
it runs underneath, and the intercooler's in where the back seat would be.
Oh, okay, so it's a water?
Yep, air to water.
Okay.
And the reason for that is that way there, when the passenger sits in the car, he can be comfortable.
Ah. Okay, and that's another thing that we haven't touched on.
Yes, sir.
Whoever rides with you, or so you don't, because you have to pull a trailer, that's all your spares, your tires, right, and your tools. Yep. And the only crew member that can help you, that could touch the car, has to sit in here.
Yes, sir.
So there's even to the point where some people try to fit 2 people, and then there's some poor sap in the back that has to basically contortion themselves into the roll cage.
Yes.
Back there.
I've seen guys do that. I mean, we've traveled with some people that have done that over the years, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I can't imagine. I mean, I get stiff even in a couple hundred miles in a seat just because of by design, because we sit flat on the floor in this car because the exhaust is all hidden. So that you sit on the floor, because the floor is raised up to clear the exhaust. So when you see the car from the side, you don't see the mufflers hanging down, the exhaust pipe. It's all hidden.
This is so crazy. You know, looking at it from in here, just this view, there's no way. I wouldn't think the inside doesn't match the outside, if that makes sense. I think that's the coolest thing.
Well, and it's funny, for years when we did this, we didn't have the carbon in there. It was open, and the transmission was right out in the open, and people would walk by and they just would freak out. I would get nasty messages on social media saying, you're unsafe and this and that because of transmission. And technically, you don't have to have the transmission covered as long as you have the proper cases. So the reason we covered it is my son started going with me when he was 13. And I was concerned over the heat with him. And we've actually taken temperatures. I have on the temp gun where it's 160, 170 degrees inside the car because of the transmission, you know, because it radiates in the car.
And on top of that, when we're racing, during the actual race week, it's insanely hot sometimes.
Yeah, it seems like that's always the week that we have the hottest days. You know, it could be cool right up to it and cool right after, but that week in September, how it works, it always seems like it's the hottest.
So what other drivability things you have to do? Like, so you actually do have to switch to rain tires.
We don't. We carry a spare set of tires only because the slicks, about 2-3 days in, the tires wear out because of the road, because they aren't a street tire. They aren't designed for that. So about midweek, we'll put the other set of slicks on to finish off the week.
Okay, so you don't actually, because I mean, I'm used to seeing your trailer and I see the 2 tires in the back.
Correct.
Right? But
these tires, I didn't realize these tires are 20-year-old tires we put on for a show. And we can't race on them, but they no longer make this tire. So we run on slicks. But yeah, I forgot these were on there.
But even in the rain, and
it doesn't matter. We've spun the car out on these tires in the rain. The first year we did drag week, a friend of mine that rode with me, he spun the car out with the U-Haul trailer on it because he didn't realize that he was going so fast in the rain, and the car spun out.
and it's just hydroplane,
Yeah,
because
it's
this
just
is
hydroplane.
just
Those
a flat
tires.
surface.
Yep.
Like, how wide is that?
These are 3522s. It's a Hoosier tire, which they made for years, and they've quit making them. We've tried to get them to make them. We got everyone together. We were going to buy 100 sets. So they'll make them then, but no such luck. So
So what are you going to run on now then?
just slicks. I mean, we've been running on slicks. They haven't made this tire in probably 3 or 4 years. So we're all we all have the same issue.
Wait, so this is not considered a slick because there's just these
They
two
stamp
bands.
a DOT number on it, ironically.
Amazing.
But I can tell you this tire here, the fastest pass that this car's been, 680, has been on that street tire over to slick. The consistency in the tire, I don't know if they make the sidewall heavier because it is a DOT tire or what it is, but the car likes that street tire. I mean, if I could buy these tires tomorrow, I'd be all over it because the car's been the fastest on these tires.
680, how many miles
210.
per hour? 210. What track was that?
Las Vegas.
Oh.
So yeah, Las Vegas, and Las Vegas is always an awesome track.
It's dry.
It's dry, and the track is always up to par. On drag week, we've been 698 at like Tulsa, in competition on the last day. So it's not like it was a fluke that we did it the first day and then car slowed down. We did it on the last day. It's always right in there. You know, it'll go 7.0s without a lot of effort, as Tom would say, conservatively.
It's so crazy to me that this easily goes 200 miles per hour. Easily.
The 200, the ET's the problem with the car, and because that's our ability where we don't have it always right. But we can go 200 on 750 passes. The turbo stuff it will pull so the mile an hour, one time it was a big deal. I thought, man, go 200. But now it's been something that we can consistently do, but the ET doesn't always reflect the mile per hour per se.
So, and also that's another thing that's kind of the ballsy thing with what you guys do. You're still going a quarter mile. It's not 1,000 foot.
No, and you'll see these cars. You had brought up Larry Larson, and we did a race in Houston that some people had us come down there, and we have video 600-700 feet out with both cars hanging the wheels. As the boost comes in, they'll start to pick up the wheels down track. I mean, it's not uncommon to watch these cars 800, 1,000 foot. They will pick the wheels up and you're just in it for the ride. You're not steering the car.
Wow. There's so much to talk about. Oh, man, this thing is so cool. I like your plate. So what does a plate mean?
Well, it's a 56 Chevy, so 50 sick. So just a play on words is all it means.
And how often are you actually having to use the parachute?
We use the parachutes every run because of the weight of the car. We've burned the brakes off a couple times, which was 100% me getting on the brakes too hard. So the chutes are super important as far as slowing the car down. It just with the weight and the mile per hour.
Yeah, I mean, these bumpers can't be light.
No, I don't. And it's funny as we pull the different front ends off the different cars I have in here. We have a fiberglass one over there, and one guy could pull it off. This front end's about 200 pounds, 220 pounds, so it's a two-person job to lift the front end off.
Okay. Can we take a look at the rear end
Absolutely.
here? Oh my God. Oh, so Coney shocks. Interesting. A bunch of burnout rubber too. Yeah. So like in terms of suspension, you have to kind of tune it for half road, half.
Well, and that's going back from earlier when we were talking about that. We don't change these cars is the problem. So what would be ideal to drive down the road with probably wouldn't be ideal to race with. So we drive the way we race it. Our tune-up, we don't change tune-ups, nothing. It is exactly, we race and drive identical. So it's not ideal for either one. You kind of are splitting hairs at that point, and you do what works best to be able to drive as well as race.
And part of it really is to save time. Minutes matter. When you can't make it to the line at a certain time, or if you don't make your pass by a certain time, you're disqualified.
Correct.
And like you said, sometimes it could just be bad weather, or who knows, it could be something simple like how many times have you broken down on the side of the road in this thing?
I don't even remember. I mean, we've got it down pretty well these days where whatever breaks we're familiar with and we can change pretty quick anymore, but we don't have a lot of breakdown. When we had the Lenko in the car, it was so violent on the car, we would break things. We'd break windshields, windows, rear ends, things like that. When we went to the automatic, it's kind of a lot easier on the car.
So is that something you can show me? Here, get on that side and open the door. Oh, cool. So this opens?
Yep.
Is that factory?
That's factory.
You even still have like the fuzzies and stuff on here?
Yes, sir. So basically we have, this is just an automatic, which you can't really see the transmission, but if you want, we can look at this other car that has the Lenko in it that was in this car, where the Lenko was a clutch transmission. So you basically let out the clutch to leave the line and you just shift. Where this is all electric over air, so I let go of the button, the car takes off, it shifts by itself, each gear change, and through the end of the track. I don't have to do anything but steer the car.
So, and this is just a 3-speed?
3-speed, yes, sir.
And is there like a thing that you have to click or you change to a different mode when you're actually driving on the street?
No, we drive it exactly like we race it. I mean, there's nothing we change in that respect.
Huh.
We have a bump box on the car, which allows us to build boost on the starting line, and we bump in. So people that watch turbo drag cars, they are familiar with them bouncing in. It's kind of aggressive. So that's the only thing that we switch, because we hook up the horn when we go to drive down the road, but that's the only thing we change for street mode.
Really?
Everything else.
So, well, and you just hook up the horn, that's it?
That's all we do.
You don't empty the radiator or anything?
Nope. Well, we have a water container that'll sit in that seat, and we fill it with ice. And while we're getting the car ready to go on the road, we'll throw a bunch of bottles of water in there to cool down. So when we're on the road, we have cool water. But that's all we do. We pull the tank out, throw it in the trailer, and we drive it just like it is.
I think that's like the strategy.
It is. I mean, the less you have to do to the car to get it ready, the better off you are, because with the pressure and everything, mistakes happen, things happen, failures happen. So the less you have to change, the better off you are, because we change distributor caps every day because it eats them. And I dropped a part of the distributor cap on the manifold, and I couldn't get it out. We spent 2 hours. I actually had the track calling me, hey, you're gonna run out of time, you aren't gonna make the run. And it was such a simple thing. If we didn't change that cap, we'd have been fine, and the car probably would have ran just fine. But that's one of our maintenance things in the morning. We put plugs in it, cap and rotor, and that's just our normal routine. So the less you can do, probably the better off you are.
And plus, the more sleep you get.
The more sleep you get, yes, sir.
Because have you had some days where it's like 1 hour of sleep?
Oh, yeah. It's more common than not. I mean, whether you break down or the weather's usually the biggest thing for us. Like I said, the rain is just, it takes it out of you. I mean, trying to drive the car in the rain, not have the car spin out. I mean, obviously, we should be smarter in it, but in order to get to the next track, you have no choice. You have to drive through it, or you just quit. And that's just not one of those things we do.
Yeah, that's why when it goes live, it sells out in 5 minutes.
Yes.
All the spots.
Yeah, it's quite addicting.
You must be grandfathered in, right?
No. If every time you win, you automatically get the golden ticket for the following year. But no, if you miss a year like we did last year, we had a inner, and I got in, but Michelle didn't get in with her car. So that's kind of one of those things why we didn't work as hard on it.
Right. Okay. So let's talk about that. So, oh my God, there's just so much to talk about with this car. There's just so much I want to learn. You know, I still consider myself an outsider. I love it so much. I love following this kind of racing, but I just, I didn't grow up with this kind of stuff. But lucky for me, I'm able to meet people like you, and I can learn. So what are some of the things that's different on this car?
This car actually we're trying to make it simpler, once again, for the morning thing. So we have an intercooler that's right on the engine, not put in the back seat. So this way here, she can put ice in the ice container. She doesn't have to worry about moving stuff around in the car, make a pass, and then come back and then just switch it over to street mode. This car, the deck lid, everything works. It's on hinges. So when she goes to the gas station, it's easy to fill up.
What do you have to do with this?
This car here, it's a pain. You have this little door that you fill up at the gas stations to put fuel in. which isn't a bad, but when you start going to like states like New Jersey where they have to pump your gas for you, it creates a whole set of issues.
It used to be Oregon. Anytime we drove through Oregon,
yes, and-
we basically would try to fill up before we go through Oregon and then drive through the whole state so we can avoid the state.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. And it's just things like that. You can't access the trunk. It takes about 45 minutes to take everything apart. So if you have to get in the trunk, it's a nightmare. So with her car, we put everything on hinges. It functions like a regular car. So it should make life easier when she gets to the track.
But then what about the Aero? Is the Aero?
You know, we don't know. I've seen guys without wings on the car. We put a wing on the car, I'm going to just say because everyone else did, because we don't have any proof that it makes any difference on the car. It may very well, but there's no proof. I mean, we don't have the information that we went through the wind tunnel and it says, oh yeah, this is definitely helping the car or not helping the car.
I mean, if anything, I would think it was just a drivability thing, you know?
And it very well may. You'll see like the dust, we'll see dust on the car, like because we drive them, and the dust doesn't move much. So I've always heard that if the dust stays on the car, it's probably not getting the air as it comes off the roof. I don't know if that's true or not, but we don't ever, you know, the dust will stay on here. You don't see it go away. So I'm assuming that we probably, because of the roof line and the deck lid, that it's probably not as useful as it may be on a car that's not designed like this.
So you mentioned that this potentially will be lighter. What's going to make this lighter than that car?
I do not have that answer. We scaled the car back when we put it back together, when it was complete, and it was just automatically lighter. I don't know if it's safety. I don't know if it's potentially when they did the body work on my car, it has more Bondo.
So much Bondo.
I don't have an answer. I wish I had that answer.
I'll tell you right now, if there's any Bondo on this thing, I feel like it would just shake it itself loose. And you would leave it.
It's starting to crack. We're starting to see that. But I really don't have that answer. When we weighed this car, it had a steel block. Mine has an aluminum block. It doesn't make sense. Other than a fire system on my car, this car shouldn't be, in theory, lighter.
It doesn't, I mean, because the chop or I don't know, have you done anything to the body at all?
Nothing. It's all stock 56 Chevrolet. I mean, there's not been anything that...
And it didn't get acid dipped or anything?
Mm-mm. No, I mean, it is definitely not. I mean, you can see where it has replaced quarter panels and things like that. I don't have the answer.
This is just insane, though. How tubbed it is. Like, oh my God. So you've seen the Australian burnout cars.
Yes.
Right? They armor them, right? Because potentially these tires will explode at 200 miles per hour and they'll hit. This is just completely different. Like, this is so cool that you're actually building a car for drag week. There's nothing. What else could you race with this?
You could clash race it. I mean, there's really nothing. It wouldn't be competitive in anything else. You know, it's not something you could go bracket race. I shouldn't say that. I guess you could go bracket race it, but it's
a little over the top.
Yeah, it's over the top. It'll be fun for her to drive. I mean, because it'll be more of a street car, I think, than my car when all's said and done, just by design. But we learned all the problems with mine, and we're trying to correct them with hers.
Well, I'm excited to see both of these together driving on the street. I think that'll be a lot of fun.
That would be a dream come true. I mean, that would be.
That's so cool. All right. Well, today, I don't know if you guys heard the thunder and lightning and all the crazy Colorado Springs weather, but unfortunately we can't drive that today. But tomorrow, we'll take that out and we'll drive it on the street, and I cannot wait to see you drive it on these streets with a wheelie bar.
Yep, we will do it. We have no problem doing that.
So I got to ask this. Yes. Have you gotten pulled over in this thing?
I've got pulled over during drag week for, I think both times with trailer lights. Because years ago we used to have charging problems. So when we were going down these back roads where you didn't see anyone, I would turn all the lights off other than the headlights. So I thought, you know, we aren't bothering anyone. And I would get pulled over and, you know, the cops say, hey, you realize, you know, your lights, yeah, I know, because we turn them off.
Wait. But they would step over here, first of all, probably burn their leg.
Well, that's the thing, because I did want to turn it off, because when we first built the car, it would vapor lock. So when I'd get pulled over, I thought, well, I ain't turning it off, and they'd be yelling, and I'd be yelling back and forth, and I'm sure it sounded way worse than what it was, but I didn't want to shut the car off or we'd be stuck on the side of the road.
And then they would come here. You would have your window net off,
yes,
obviously. But then look in here, like, what the heck does this guy have going on? Like, what kind of steering wheel is this? And
we were out at some street races one night with the car, and the car was just parked at the time, and the local police came, and everyone left. Well, I'm way too old. I'm not running. So I just sat there, me and my son, and the cops come over there and shined the light on the back of the car, and the first thing he seen was the parachutes. And when he walked up, you could tell he wasn't happy. And then he shined the light, and he smiled, just started shaking his head, and said, "It's time for you to go," and just ended up leaving, But it was one of the things that was the best. If I could have taken a picture at that time, it would have been perfect, because he didn't. I mean, of all things for him to expect to find that night, and
that's how you stay young.
Yeah, I don't know about that. There was no way I was good, because everyone just took off, and I thought, well.
No, I just think it's funny that you bring this, like, you're basically bringing, I don't know, like a nuclear weapon to a street race. You know what I mean? You're like, you want to talk about overkill over here, but then, okay, first of all, if they see you from far away, it's like, oh, look at this guy. With his show car, how cute. He's going to try to race us.
Yeah. Well, and that's exactly it. I mean, and we go to a lot of places, and the guys that actually do it and are fast, they know they can beat us. So we're track racers. We're not street racers. So they know good and well they can beat us. So they take full advantage of us.
That's awesome. Well, okay. I think that's it. That's a wrap for today, but we're going to continue this shoot. I'm going to do a full shoot of this, and actually, can I ride in it with you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go for a ride. I think that'll be a lot of fun. Whew. This is a long video, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. Super in-depth. I just love this sport so much, and I definitely hope I can cover it more in the future. Hold on. So, which one's first gear? The closest to you?
The tallest one is first gear.
Oh, okay.
So you pull it back, and the next one's 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and 4 to 5. It's a 5-speed.
Whoa. Do you even have a chance to get to the 5th speed in this thing?
Yeah, you do. The gear set, like with the automatic, it's a 208 first gear, where this is a 288 first gear. So you shift through it, probably by 8th mile, you're through all 5 gears.
You must actually go faster in the automatic then.
No, we actually have went faster with the Lenco in the car. Basically with the clutch, you don't have any converter slip or anything like that. So it usually, if the clutch is set up right, should be faster.
Is it because there's no delay in between when you're actually doing the shifting? It's like, because you don't have to clutch in or anything.
Correct. You just pull the levers. You only use the clutch when you initially take off with the car.
That's got to be so violent.
It is. We used to have massive tire shake. I mean, it would break glass, knock back window out, knock the trim off the car. I have so many pictures of people that have taken with the trim flying off the car, catching it in midair.
But like, that also this transmission relies so much on you as a driver, just especially for the launch, right? With the clutch?
With the clutch, and I raced the car for so long with the Lenco, you get used to it. But I can tell you, I think I was a better driver with it because I actually paid attention to everything. Whereas with automatic, I always tell people I'm just like the monkey behind the wheel. I steer the car, I push the gas, and it goes. I don't do anything besides that. And where this, I had to watch shift light. I had to do all that things. It was much different than with the automatic.
But in terms of reliability, the automatic is just way better.
It's better in the respect of you can go to the track, race it, and not have to worry about tuning the clutch. Whereas with the clutch setup, you always have to make sure the clutch is right, set all your air gaps and everything like that. So the maintenance every morning is much more involved.
And what is it, like a triple plate, or
it's a triple disc clutch, and it just, if you miss your clutch tune-up and you know, glaze the clutch, then you have to take everything apart, and that's a major job.
Well, just from following Top Fuel, there's a clutch person, you know, and it could be a man or a woman, and that's all they do is just do the clutch. And out of all the things that I'm allowed to photograph in when I'm shooting Top Fuel, they just don't let me take pictures of the clutches, because it's just so, that's the speed in there.
It's like tuning the car. It's another power management. And like when we had the clutch in the car, we'd get over there on the clutch machine. I would do everything before we left for drag week, so we could just bolt the combination in. But there's so many factors in that disc: the hardness of the disc, the softness, how aggressive it is. There's so many things, and clutches, like in a fuel car, is probably the last black magic, I guess, for lack of a better word, things that are out there. I mean, the tuning and things everyone's kind of got a handle on, but the clutch still can be the ultimate equalizer. And if you miss the clutch tune-up, the run is junk.
It's because it's not glamorous. You know?
No.
You tell somebody you're the clutch guy.
Yeah.
Or the clutch woman, you know, but yeah, you know, that's not the glamorous job. But honestly, that could be it. That could be it. You make or break the run.
It is. I mean, that person is so important on the run. I mean, everything goes through that clutch. So that person is probably, I don't want to say the most important, but they're definitely right up there.
Awesome. Oh, cool. That's cool to see that that's what you guys started with in that car. But they're taking off the front. Oh, this is so crazy.
Lead into me going like, oh my god. Oh my god.
Well, we're back, and they have the wheelie bar on, and it's on the ground, and it's ready to go for a cruise.
There's like still tire dust on it. Like they just leave it on.
Yeah. So you don't even. You guys it's just decoration, right?
It's just
the tire
decoration.
dust?
It doesn't use them. We got slow-mo shots. It doesn't use them. Our oil pressure process here.
So we're gonna take this out, go for a little cruise on the freeway, because this is street legal. All right, so, oh my goodness. Oh, this is, you know, that's the thing, is this has a lot of room. Oh, wow.
Has to be to fit me.
Well, but also the crazy thing is I can't even touch the dash from here. Like, you're basically sitting in the rear.
You sit back a ways.
Oh my God. This is so crazy. I can't believe it. All right, so there's plenty of room. So I've ridden in one other unlimited dragway car, and that was Tom's. This is just insane. Oh wow, it's picking up every little pebble. It's not terrible. It's not that loud. You're right.
No, it's worse inside the car, or outside the car, but it's not bad in the car.
Especially if you're right next to us.
Correct.
But oh my God, look what's right behind your head. Oh, wow. So crazy. This is insane. Look, we're literally in traffic with a 3,000 horsepower car. Oh, what the heck? This is so crazy. Like, what do you think this guy's thinking right now?
Usually they roll up their windows. Or they'll shake their head, you know.
I just, this is just hilarious to me.
Well, and it's best when people will see you on the roads and they'll post it, you know, either really excited or, you know, look at this idiot driving this race car.
Amazing. I love this. This is my life. We did a whole shoot on Pikes Peak, and now we're riding in a 3,000 horsepower car.
We needed to go up Pikes Peak in this.
Oh man. You know what? For it having so much power, it's pretty mild.
Thank you. I tell people that and no one believes me. I tell them it's like driving my everyday car for the most part, other than we don't have power windows and AC and it doesn't shift itself.
Wait, does it have power steering?
No, it's all manual steering box.
But the wheels in the front are small enough for it.
They're small enough. I mean, it isn't bad. I just got the steering wheel. This is the first time I drove the car with the steering wheel, and it definitely has a unique feel that I'm not sure it's going to have to grow on me. The other one had a lot more grip, so.
Is it impossible to make a 3-point turn in this thing then?
Yeah, I mean, making the turns it's tough. I mean, and that's the bad part. But you know, we go in areas where we know we don't have to turn around most of the time. It's not impossible, but because of the view and stuff, it makes it hard to not run into something. So you always need a second person eyes to be able to see.
Because traditionally your body would be
Substantially farther. I mean, the seat is usually at the window frame, whereas this car was built ultimately for the best weight transfer and that kind of thing. So I think 4 inches behind the B pillar.
Okay, so even with 4 PSI boost, at any moment, if you just put your foot to the floor, it would just spin tires.
It'll take off. Yeah. It the car on, just to give an example, on 10 pounds of boost, the car will run a 750 at 190 something. So 4 pounds is not probably a big difference. I would imagine the car is probably still an 8-second car, even on 4 pounds. The cubic inch of the motor helps that issue.
Yeah, so your 4 pounds versus my 4 pounds on my turbo cars, it's completely different, right? So it's
A little bit.
yeah, it's pretty cool to think that. But I was surprised how manageable it is on the street. I mean, I noticed you do have to kind of like coax it a little bit to downshift.
Well, you can go second or third to second easily. There's no problem there. But second to first, you really got to be low in the RPMs, low on your speed. Otherwise, it'll literally lock up the tires. It's real hard on it. So I've got used to kind of over the years where I can get away with putting it back in first. And the only reason I was going back in first is with the aluminum block, we have no oil pressure. And I don't know if you've noticed, but we had 8-10 pounds at some places when we were sitting there stopped.
Because it's not spinning up enough RPM?
Correct. It doesn't spin enough. And with the aluminum block, everything, all the oil galleys, everything are much larger. Everything expands. So you start to lose oil pressure. So I try to keep the RPMs up so at least has, 25, 30 pounds. But yeah, if you watch, especially when we drive back, watching, you'll see how low.
So and there's nothing you can do to prevent that?
No. We've tried thicker oil. We've turned up the oil pumps and things like that. But at some point, you start to cause other problems by doing that. So we've made it live. I mean, we have multiple drag weeks on it like this, and anyone who ever gets in the car, if they ever notice the oil pressure, they panic. Aren't you worried? Well, I did the first time, but now we know it'll make it, so I don't panic as much. But years ago, it was like a major panic. Like, what are we going to do?
And that's the thing, is you modify your driving to...
You do. And I mean, a lot of the stuff, even in drag week, a lot of times we'll drive in the evening because if we can keep the engine oil temperature down, it's going to have more oil pressure. So as bad as it not driving in the daytime, it's sometimes better on the car, and I think it helps it live, to be honest, to be able to have oil pressure versus not, because the oil pressure ultimately is just cooling everything down. Everyone that thinks oil is lubricant, which it is, but it draws the heat out of the parts is what it does.
I mean, yeah, that's the whole thing. Porsches, a lot of air-cooled Porsches, they're air-cooled, but realistically they're oil-cooled. That's the liquid that's transferring the heat away. This thing is just, I don't even know what to say. I'm just so happy to be able to experience this. It is kind of interesting to realize that there's this much power that you're like using like a 1/4% of the power that it has just to move it along.
You're correct. I mean, you don't realize, how little power you need, I guess, to move a vehicle. And when you're driving down all these highways, pulling a trailer, we forget the trailer's back there half the time. The trailer's 1,000 pounds. You don't even know it's back there. I'll have to look in the mirror sometimes. Okay, it's still back there.
Because, as you said, when you're pretty easy on it, you could get, 10 miles to the gallon?
No, we've got 12. We've got upwards of 14, but not with the automatic. The automatic's about 12 is about the best we get.
But then what kind of uses, or how much fuel do you burn in one pass when you're actually on
You
a quarter
know,
mile?
I can about 3 gallons roughly to do a burnout, depending on how carried away the burnout is, backing up, driving. Obviously, we drive the car to the staging lane, we don't tow them, and we drive them back. So about 3 gallons is a relatively good number. Because what we'll do is normally we'll put 5 gallons in it and hope, like what we talked yesterday about the one and done, be able to make that pass and not have to go back up. If we have to make a second, we definitely have to put a splash of fuel in it to be able to make that second pass, because 2 gallons would not be enough.
All right. Well, we're going to take some pictures of this thing, and then we'll get some shots of you driving back. So this was a treat. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. See, this is the problem with this car. There's too many things to talk about. One thing I noticed was how many rocks you pick up. It's so loud. People following behind you are probably like have to dodge all the rocks that you're picking up.
Well, and the funny part about it is, after we've raced it for a season, you don't hear the rocks anymore. Even after a couple races, we've cleaned everything, so you're actually hearing the rocks bounce around in the wheel tub. Once the rubbers covered the wheel tubs, you don't ever hear it. The tires, I'm assuming a regular car probably picks it up, but you don't notice it because of all the extra things that they add to the car to make them comfortable and quiet.
And I'm surprised how little rock chips you have in the front of this thing.
We've just been lucky. I guess we just don't follow too close. Over the years, I don't think we've ever had to fix rock chips per se. You know, usually we have to clean bugs off and that kind of thing. An occasional frog, and over the years, for some reason, the height of the car, I don't know. In the Midwest, we've run across like hordes of frogs just crossing the street. And of course, they end up in the grill and the turbos.
Wait, really? Like
Yes,
inside of the turbos?
inside of it. I mean, we'll pull the hood off and they'll, be Superman style cooking on the exhaust.
I think I know what's happening, honestly. I think the rumble of the engine is like alerting them.
Attracts them.
And then they all jump up to the height, like just like this height.
Yeah.
And then you just eat them. I'm guessing that's what's happening, because if they were just on the ground, you're not going to pick them up.
You're correct. I don't know why. I mean, maybe when they jump at the last minute.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, They all just, and then at the end you have some frog legs to eat.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
That's too good. It pops wheelies.
What? Oh God, does it? Are you?
Does it? Does it?
Yeah.
It does. It does.
Oh.
It does.
It does pop wheelies.
I think I've seen that before.